Tifton, Georgia, 1870. Slavery was abolished in law 5 years earlier, but poverty held the poor in its grip. Families gave away their children to wealthier homes, not as equals, but as servants. This story was written in the diary by a woman I'll call June. She was only 15 when she entered the Williams household. What she witnessed there scarred her forever. The Williams family was the wealthiest in the region. Their home was grand, white columns, long porches, a house that looked like it had been built to last 100 years. Inside lived Mr. and Mrs. Williams, their daughter Fauntine, and Fauntine's husband, Hopman. Hopman was tall, handsome, charismatic. They had a daughter, Moon, only 4 years old, when June arrived. The Williams family treated their servants better than most. There were stern voices at times, but never cruelty. For June, life was difficult, but stable. 2 years passed, and then everything changed. In 1872, Mrs. Williams fell ill. She grew weaker by the day, and within months, she was gone. Her daughter Fauntine mourned with a broken heart, but only months later. Mr. Williams returned home with another woman. Her name was Lynn. She was from Asia, with delicate features and long black hair, beautiful in a way that drew every eye. Mr. Williams admitted that he had first seen her at a card game, not as a guest, but as a servant in another house. He paid a heavy price for her freedom and brought her into his own home, not as a servant, but as his wife. Fauntine was shattered. Her mother's grave was still fresh, and already her father's heart belonged to another. But in those days, powerful men often kept multiple wives, and so Fauntine said nothing. But silence could not stop the storm that was coming. From the moment Lynn stepped into the Williams house, the air grew heavy. She was arrogant, sharp-tongued, cruel. She mocked the servants without reason, turned small mistakes into great offences. Even the oldest servant, Mrs. Cook, a woman of 60 who had served the family for decades, was humiliated. If her meal displeased her, Lynn swept it to the floor, stomped it beneath her feet, and cursed the woman as though she were dirt. June herself often suffered under her hand. If the water was too hot or too cold, she was struck. If the basin was too high or too low, Lynn's hand or broom would come down on her again. The house once filled with dignity, now echoed with cruelty. And then Lynn's eyes fell on Hopman, her daughter-in-law's husband. Hopman was young, strong. His charm carried him easily into temptation. At first, their affair was secret, but secrets always claw their way out. One morning, little Moon scraped her leg while playing. She rushed inside, crying for her father. She pushed open his door and found him, with Lynn. Too young to understand, she only sobbed, "Daddy, I'm hurt. My leg is bleeding. Please, help me." Hopman scrambled to cover himself. He calmed his daughter, sent her back outside, but he and Lynn shared a look of dread. Moon had seen too much. She might not understand, but she could speak. And if Fauntine ever learned, their secret would shatter everything. That night, they acted. Moon was given a drink laced with powders. She grew heavy-eyed, fell into sleep. By dawn, she was gone. The family believed she had wandered near the lily pond, that she slipped and drowned. Her small body was found hours later, tangled among the lilies. Fauntine's grief was unbearable. She sat by her daughter's grave, night after night, weeping until she had no voice left. And one of those nights, Moon returned. Her little dress was soaked. Her voice trembled like a reed in the wind. "Mom, I did not slip. I did not fall. Someone carried me. And then I was gone." And with those words, she faded, sinking back into the earth. Fauntine awoke in terror, but Hopman, her betrayer, only told her it was a dream. "Speak of it to no one," he warned. and so she carried her grief in silence. But whispers of the dead do not rest. Hopman and Lynn feared Fantine would learn the truth, so they plotted again. This time, against Fantine herself. They lured her out on the road under the guise of business. She never returned. Hopman told the family she had gone to visit friends in Cordaile. But the final blow had not yet fallen. One night, Mr. Williams awoke to the sound of voices from his daughter's room. At first, he thought he had misheard, but as he drew closer, the laughter grew clearer. He pushed the door open, and there, before his eyes, Lynn, the young wife he had taken into his home, entwined with Hopman, his own son-in-law. For a moment, the world froze. The betrayal was so sharp, so unthinkable, that his body could not bear it. His face twisted, his voice failed. The strength drained from his arm, and before anyone could move, Mr. Williams collapsed to the floor. It was a stroke, brought on not by age, but by heartbreak, rage, and humiliation. From that night forward, he was a prisoner in his own body. After Mr. Williams collapsed from the shock, and Fantine vanished without a trace, June felt a shadow had settled over the house. Something darker lingered. Nights later, Fantine's voice appeared. It drifted from the orange grove by the well. June turned and saw her. Her body was torn, her face pale. Her voice gurgled as she tried to speak. "June, they betrayed me. They betrayed my child. Help me," June screamed. By morning, she convinced herself it had been only a nightmare. And what of Mr. Williams? The man who once commanded so much was reduced to nothing. When he discovered his young wife's betrayal, his body gave way. A stroke left him paralyzed, his mouth twisted, his voice gone. He was no longer master, only a prisoner in his own bed. He wept silently as Lynn mocked him, laughed when his words came out crooked, taunted him when tears rolled down his cheeks. Sometimes June was permitted to feed him. Other times, Lynn ordered her to let him starve. The once great master of the Williams estate, a man feared across the region, now lay helpless. His wealth, his pride, his power, all gone. This was the price of his folly. He had bought beauty and called it love, and in the end, it destroyed him. And then, one night, Fantine came again, this time whole, gentle. She begged June to be brave. "They silenced me. They silenced my daughter by a talisman beneath Lynn's altar. Please help us by destroying it. Free us, and tend to my father, for in 10 days we will come for him." June trembled, but she obeyed. When Lynn and Hopman left for the gambling hall, she slipped into their chamber, lifted the incense bowl, and there it was, a yellow packet, the talisman. She carried it to the well and burned it. That night, screams shook the Williams house. Hopman stumbled from his room, drenched in red liquid, raving like a madman. "Fantine, I did it. I silenced her. Please, no more." The servants tied him down, but the sight chilled their bones. When Lynn finally met her fate, the authorities were summoned. In those days, the law was fragile, a balance of rumor and judgment. They found Hopman bound, raving, drenched, crying Fantine's name into the night. They did not charge him. They did not try him. Instead, they declared him insane and left him. It was not justice as we know it today, but it was a reminder that cruelty cannot hide forever. The Williams house fell silent. Its wealth could not shield it. Its power could not protect it. And the man who once ruled it lived out his days powerless, mocked and weeping, a shadow of his own choices. The servants fled. Only June remained, until even she departed. They say the house was left abandoned, but those who passed by swore they still heard voices, crying, screaming, the madness of Hopman, the sorrow of Fantine, and the endless regret of Mr. Williams. This was episode 11, The Williams House. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a like and subscribe to help our channel grow. Until next time, stay curious and take care.